TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about Wagerwire. Wagerwire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at Wagerwire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search Wagerwire and download the app.
Hey gang, welcome to the show. My name is Scott Webb. Some people know me as Beam 'em Up Scotty in certain places. So whatever it is, what it is. Today is Saturday. It's June the 29th. And we got some games to talk about today, some situations to go over, some things that, happen in Major League Baseball. One of the things we talked about yesterday, we talked about the Philadelphia Phillies, and, they were going to be missing Bryce Harper, and they were going to be missing Kyle Schwarber, and they're facing the Miami Marlins, who, they can't pitch. So, well, they can't hit either. But, the idea is to keep an eye on that team over the next 10 days, because the reality is that they're not going to be the same Philadelphia Phillies that, have been dominating the league for a little while. Their offense is going to be a little bit struggling. So it'll be interesting to see what they do today, because they're facing probably the easiest guy to hit or the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball today in Munoz. So we'll see how that turns out for them. They got big numbers, big lines. I think you just want to stay away from run lines, stay away from everything until you get a good grasp on what the Phillies are, because without Harper and what he was doing for that team at the time, I think that they're a shell of what they were. So we'll see. I think they're still a good team. I think the pitching is what dominates for them. They got four guys, and if Turnbull goes back to what Turnbull was before he was put in the bullpen, they got five guys that can pitch. So I think that's where their edge is. And then they bring in some guys in the bullpen and get the job done, and then get timely hitting, and they win games. So they should still win games. I just don't think they're going to be a dominant team and run lines and things like that when you're trying to maneuver around paying minus 200s. I think that's a special case scenario you want to keep an eye on. So today's Saturday. Just a couple notes. One of the things I think that we're getting ready to hit into, and it's real important, is some of these guys are going to have their arm fall off. That's a pitcher. So you're kind of maybe seeing it right now with Luis Gil, say for the Yankees. They're not used to pitching this many innings. So I'll be doing a study here over the next couple of days and putting a list together of pitchers that are hitting their against last year's innings pitch numbers. They're getting close. So, Luis Gil is one of those guys that kind of pops into that mind. Albert Suarez for the Orioles is one of those kind of guys. Parker for the Nationals is another one of those kind of guys. When they get to a certain pitching level of how many innings they've thrown this year versus what they did last year, they're going to start stretching them out, slowing them down, shutting them down, whatever it takes, so that they don't get hurt. And you can see it in some of these guys, and we in this business are going to have to find a way to see it first. And if we can see it first and capitalize on it, then we're going to have some edges that we can play. So I'll be working on that over the next couple of days. So hopefully I can have a report on that next week, and we'll look at that, especially as we get into the All-Star break and some other stuff coming out of that. So I'm excited to be able to get into that part of it. And one particular note I wanted to make today in these games, and I've played them this way today, so it's going to be a note, and then there'll be some things that we can talk about. When you have a dominant team but it's not a dominant situation, and you're going to want to bet the other side, you need to hide. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the longer the game goes, the more dominant team has more opportunity then to show their dominance. So if you find a way to, for example, shorten the game and not be in a spot where that dominance is beating you over the head every inning all the time, I think you have a shot. So, one of those situations that is in today's games is in the Houston Astros and in the New York Mets. So the New York Mets are the number one offense in baseball over the last 7 days, and it's not even close, and it's just ridiculous. The New York Mets, where are they? They're there. The New York Mets are scoring 6.8 runs a game. They're number one in offensive WAR. They're number one in isolated power. They're 84% better than an average team. They have 6 guys in their lineup right now that are hitting over 1 offensive WAR and 0 hitting below. So they've got it clicking on offense. But that doesn't mean you can't bet against them. You just don't want to go up against that offense for 9 innings. And in today's game, Houston has Framber Valdez on the mound, and they're facing Tyler McGill. So Houston's offense isn't bad. They're 5th in offensive WAR. They're 9th in isolated power. They have 5 guys hitting over 1 WAR, but they have 2 guys under the number. And when you look at it from a different perspective, Valdez has been really good in his last 28 days, last 30 days. His SOPS plus. So again, try to define some of these terms I use to help out. So that's his ability to control the opponent's offense on slugging and on base. And it's graded on a 100 scale. So 100 is average. He's a 53. So 53 means he's 47% better than an average pitcher at controlling the opponent's offense. That's great. So we want to try to support that. That's a good thing. And we want him as our pitcher today. And Tyler McGill is a 137. He's 37% worse than average at controlling the opponent's offense. So we got a pretty big pitching edge on the mound. But I don't want to go beat my head against the wall for 9 innings against that offense. I just don't want to do it. And at some point in time, Framber Valdez isn't going to pitch. So they're going to throw in a bullpen, and the bullpen isn't necessarily that good in Houston. So I don't trust that. So we're going to look at this game in a first 5 level because I think when you break this kind of down this way, you avoid banging your head on the wall against the dominance of one side, and the dominance of the side is the Mets offense. They're gonna hit. So we want to avoid 4 times of seeing it. And if Framber can do his job in the first 5 innings, I think we got a pretty good chance here. And I like the idea that McGill has struggled. He's started 7 games for the Mets. And in those 7 starts, they've only won twice. So he's 2-5 in those 7 starts. And I like that. He hasn't pitched much against the Astros, only 2 innings. But in those 2 innings, he gave up 4 hits. He's got an earned run average of over 15. But that doesn't really say a lot in that stretch. And the other thing that's kind of interesting here is even though the Mets offense is real good, this team is 10-12 against left-handed pitching. So they're below 500 against left-handed pitching. So I think that we've got a pretty good shot here with this Houston Astros team. And I think you can play this one of 2 ways. You can play it if you want to on the run line at -0.5 run. You get good value that way. I mean, the run line is plus 120 if you do that. But you got to win if you're tied. So yesterday, in the first 5 innings, it was 2-2. So it was a tie. You would lose. Valdez just on the money line is minus 120. So I think that's probably a safer play. I think that's the play that you might want to go with is the minus 120. And the other part that I liked about this game when I pulled this game up, the metrics for both pitchers are average, but McGill has a 5.09 walks per 9 inning rate. So he's putting guys on base. His home run rate's 102, so that's above average. And his whip rate should be high, and it is. It's 1.81. So almost 2 guys are getting on base per inning. That gives the edge to Houston with the ability to score runs. And on the vice versa side of that, Valdez is 1.0, so only 1 guy getting on base per inning. Batting average against is 190. He's getting ground balls like he should. That's what he does. He's 55% ground ball rate, and his hard hit rate's only 26%. So he should get soft contact, and if they're hit in the right spots, we can get him out. And all we need him to do is 5 times through. My number, by the way, on that game for the first 5 innings is 3 for Houston and 1.5 for the Mets. So I like that play. I think that's a pretty good one, and I'm pretty happy with that one. So that would be play number 1, and that fits sort of what we were talking about with when you're betting these games, you have situations that come up like this, where you have one team that's more dominant over the other one in certain aspects, but you can still bet. And that's what I'm trying to show in this particular spot is I think that the Astros in this particular spot are a good bet, and I bet them. So I think that's a good spot. So another couple of spots that I picked out to talk about today. And again, I'm looking for engagement. So if you guys have questions, put them in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them. Or if I don't talk about a game that you want me to talk about, put in the game and we'll do it live right here. We'll break it down that way. So it's not like something I've got prepared. We'll just do it live. That's always fun to do. The next game is the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. And when I looked at this, what I'm seeing in the market is this game opened at Sonny Gray minus 170, and it's all the way up to minus 190 in places. And they're betting on Sonny Gray. You know, obviously he's a good pitcher. And I don't think anybody knows who Kannon Spears is. And I think that's why they're probably doing it that way. But let me tell you, Kannon Spears was their bulk guy. So that if they had an opener or they needed a guy to pitch long relief, he was the guy that came in and did it. And he's been pretty good for them. So don't sell him short. There's a lot of things about Kannon Spears that's pretty good. His metrics match Sonny Gray almost identically. So over the last 30 days, his xFIP is a 330 and his Sierra is a 329. Sonny Gray is a 306 and a 317. So hardly any variance there. The difference, one of the differences, Sonny Gray gets strikeouts. He's got 10 per 9 innings, and that's great. You get a guy that strikes people out. That's great. But Kannon Spears is 8.66, so not too far from there. Still in the average category, but not in the elite. So, but real good. Neither one of them allow home runs. So you have Kannon Spears who hasn't allowed any in his last 30 days. And Sonny Gray is a 0.29 in that category. So that's great. Their expected weighted on base percentages are both in the elite class, 252 and 251, perfect numbers. Sonny Gray's a 0.86 on allowing guys to get on base, whip rate, walks plus hits divided by innings. And Spears is 1.19, so just a little bit higher, but more in the average category. So what I liked about this game, and the reason I highlighted this, is I don't trust Sonny Gray to go out here and shut down this Reds offense to a degree in which you got a minus 190 and you want to support that. Because I think you have 2 good pitchers today, and I think they're both going to do a pretty good job. I think it's going to be hard to score runs. and you have decent bullpens. Both these bullpens are pretty decent today. The offenses on both of these teams right now, Cincinnati ranks 13th and St. Louis 11th. And in ISO, they're 17th and 20th. So kind of bottom half in the isolated power overall, they're kind of in the middle of the pack. The Reds have 3 guys over 1 WAR, and St. Louis has 4. But I think the better way to look at this is to go run scoring in this game is going to be pretty difficult based on the pitchers that you have and the current status of the offenses. So I think that you're going to run into a good spot here to play an under. The total in this game is 8, and you can get under 8 at minus 107. That's a pretty good number for that. And my number on this game, as it comes out, the score predictor says Cincinnati scores 3.3 and St. Louis scores 3.6. So, they score 7 runs. So I think this is a pretty good spot for an under. And, it's in St. Louis. It'd be different if it was in Cincinnati. If it was in Cincinnati, it's a little more of a bandbox and ball situation flies out of there. But it's not. So I kind of like the idea here that both pitchers are going to do well. I think that if you can control India for the Reds and keep De La Cruz, from running all over the bases, I think you got a pretty good shot here at this under. I think it's going to be pretty good. Obviously, people want to bet on the Cardinals, but I think that's because they don't know who Kannon Spears is, and he's pretty good. So I would tell you that it's better not to support a minus 190 in this particular case, and it is a better situation here to play an under and go that direction. I had another one here too that I wanted to share. So that's 2 plays. The other one that I wanted to share is, and we'll go back to the lines for a second because public's going crazy again. Cortez in the Yankees against Bassett. It opened at 120. The number's 134 at Circa, 135 at Bookmaker, 145 at Caesars, 142 DraftKings. So you can get this number 135 to 145. I think people are crazy. Look, the Yankees woke up and they hit the ball yesterday, but they faced Kikuchi, and Kikuchi's been really bad at giving up hits. Today they faced Bassett. Bassett's a bulldog mentally. He's not necessarily the greatest pitcher in the world, but man, that guy doesn't give in to any. He won't give in an inch. So the Yankees have to take whatever they can get. So it's going to be work. But what people I don't think realize is Cortez is a home pitcher. He's a guy that at home. Let me situationally go over there. At home, his SOPS plus is a 48. That means he's 52% better at home, controlling the opponent's offense, slugging, and on-base percentage. On the road, he's a 131. He's 31% worse. So that frees up Toronto's offense, and Toronto's offense woke up. They're starting to hit the ball. So Toronto on offense currently, they rank 3rd in all of baseball, and they're 4th in ISO. They're 42% better than an average offense. They got 5 guys hitting over 1 WAR, so they're doing really well. And all they have to do is control 2 people on the other side. Just don't give up home runs to Judge and keep Soto off base. I get it. It's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do. But when you got a bulldog pitcher, he's not going to give in. So theoretically, you get Volpe out, you walk Soto, you walk Judge, and then you get the next guys out. And then you go through it until the next time they come around again, you do the same thing. So that's where I think that you can find value in this game. But I'm not going to tell you to go bet on the Toronto side. What I think you should do is take advantage of where the offense is woke. And the number for Toronto today is 3.5. You can get over 3.5 runs, team total, minus 125. And my number on this game, where is it? There it is. My number on the game is Toronto at 4.5. So I think they're going to score at 4.5, 5 runs. They didn't hit well yesterday, so it's good likelihood they're going to hit today. And, the other part of it is the Yankee bullpen hasn't been a shutdown bullpen like they opened the season. Their bullpen currently is in a spot that ranks 20-something. Where is it? Yankees. They rank 28 out of 30 teams right now. They've pitched 47 2/3 innings and allowed 59 hits and 9 home runs. So they might be able to get 3 runs just off the Yankee bullpen, depending on how the game goes. So I like the idea here, too, that you can get the Toronto Blue Jays over 3.5 runs today at -125. So I think those are 3 good spots. And just to kind of refresh it, some of the people jumped on here a little later. We talked about Valdez in the first 5 innings today. You can play him on the run line, or you can play him on the money line. The money line was -120. That was what we officially gave out. We also talked about the Cincinnati-St. Louis game under 8 runs today at -107, -110. And now we just said, hey, you can play Toronto over 3.5 runs today at -125. Now, I've got one other situation that I want to talk about, and it's up to you how you want to do it, even if you want to play it. But a lot of people don't look at what pitchers did in their very last start, and there's a good reason to do so. Let me switch my screen so I can get back to the right thing here. So tonight, the last game of the night, Minnesota plays Seattle. Now, Minnesota's hitting. Seattle's kind of what Seattle does. They get a guy on base and they try to hit a home run and strike out half the time, and other times they hit home runs. But they get pitching. So it keeps them in the game so they can mess around and do this stuff. But anyway, they got Pablo Lopez on the mound tonight for Minnesota. His game score for the season's a 49, so average to below average. And he's a good pitcher, so he's not having a good season. The reason I bring this up is because his last start was a game score 92. 92. So what does that look like? Well, he threw 8 innings, only allowed 2 hits, but he had 14 strikeouts. So it's an outlier. So when you have an outlier that comes into play, you certainly don't expect another one. That's number one. Number two, an outlier is going to be something that skews your performance. So because it skews it, in this case, it skews it positively, the expectation is that he should have some offset to that outlier play that he had, because he's got to get back to his average. He's got to get back to 49.50. So I'm going to tell you that he's going to get bombed. So I think that it's up to you if you believe me, you don't believe me, whatever. But I think that, you want to look for these spots where certain pitchers come in and they've had a great start, an outlier that's unbelievable in terms of performance. And, that's another thing. Like if a guy goes out and throws a no-hitter, you bet against him the next time. It's just the way you do it. And 2 things happen, right? Usually people will start betting on Minnesota tonight and betting on Lopez and looking at, oh man, over his last 3 starts, he's been excellent. He's done this and that, has all these numbers. Well, they missed the idea that he had an outlier in there. It's not a consistent 3 games that he was great in, or 5 games or whatever. He had 1. And in that 1 game, he did outstanding. Over his last 4 games, he had a game score 94, game score 22, 51, and 19. So that's what I'm trying to say is he's going to revert back to the 22, 51, 19. not 94. Vice versa of that, Miller is pitching for Seattle tonight, and his last start was a game scored 21. You think he's going to throw another one of those? His last start was before that was a 49 and then an 80. So I don't think he's going to throw another 21. That's an outlier the other way. So I think you're going to see him pitch better. I think you're going to see Minnesota's pitcher pitch poorly. But again, Minnesota's hitting. So this is one of those spots where, all right, well, I got a dominant offense. I got a dominant team, a dominant situation. Let's not beat our heads and go up against it 9 times. So maybe just play them in the first 5 innings or something. But I think that's how you handle certain situations, and you can make money at baseball. Look, this is not an easy sport to beat, and it's really not about beating the sport. It's about managing your bankroll, because if you go out and you do like what I see these guys do on Twitter all the time. I saw one earlier today. These guys are out there going, well, look, go play a first 5 money line on the Cardinals, which will be minus 200, and then go play a money line parlay on the Dodgers, which is over 200. Parlay them together, and it's minus 110 or something like that. And that's how you play these games. That's not what you do, guys. You're gonna lose your money. It's not going to be it won't be good. So don't do that stuff. Just don't. It's better to be smart, find different other ways to make money, because I'm going to say this until my face turns blue. You must protect your bankroll. And if you lose a bet in baseball and say it was a minus 130, it takes 2 bets to get your money back. Just to get your money back, because if you made another minus 130 bet and another minus 130 bet, finally you get to overcome the one that you lost, and then you got to make a third one to actually make any money. So every single loss counts tremendously bad in baseball, and that's why people lose. So what I'm trying to tell you is, and the best way I said it yesterday was, if you're a batter and you got pitches coming in, don't swing at just anything. Be very selective and hit pitches you can drive. Hit pitches that are on the sweet part of the plate. They're going to hit the barrel of the bat, and you're going to take your chances, but you're going to hit it hard and hopefully do some damaging blows. Don't swing at balls that curve and go out of the strike zone. Don't swing at balls that are in the dirt. Don't swing at balls over your head. Make sure you're focused and selective on what you swing at. You're going to do much better. You'll be a better, and you'll find ways that, hey, look, we can make money at baseball. It's just, you just can't go out and go, oh, well, that sounds like a great thing. If it was a great thing, they wouldn't offer it. Sports books are in the business to make money. They're not going to offer you stuff that you're going to just be able to pick off and go and willy-nilly make a lot of money. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, in a sense that these states are out there making a ton of money because people are doing same-game parlays for $10, $20, $30, and they lose all the time. And it's not just a little bit of money. These states are making billions of dollars because that's what the advertising is. The advertising is, hey, let's go out here and do this same game parlay and make this money, or, same game parlays on home run props and all this stuff. Man, don't do that stuff. That's how you lose your money. I do this and bet for a living. And when you do it for a living and you need to have gas money, you need to have money to put on your plate for food, keep the electric bill on, pay for your TV services and all that stuff. Every single bet you make has a purpose. And if you don't think of it that way, which is fine. I mean, I get it. Some people just want to have fun. and you're just doing certain things for fun. But if you do it a different way, and you're worried about making money, and you want to do it the right way, make sure you're very selective on what you bet. And hopefully, a couple of things that you're finding about me. One, how many trends have you heard me talk about? I don't talk about that stuff. I don't say, hey, look, this team has won X number of games on Monday, or they've won this many games at night, or they've done this or they've done that. That's not how you do this. You break things down and you do it a different way. You learn what a good bet is. And remember, we talked about this before. A good bet is something you're going to make 1,000 times, the same bet 1,000 times. And when you make that same bet 1,000 times, your expected return is positive. So that's an EV positive bet. And you do that. And if you do that and you're selective at that, you're going to win. And whether you bet baseball or you bet football or basketball or hockey or ping pong or whatever you're betting, if you're betting EV positive bets and you do it right, you're going to win. You're going to win. Now, remember, you got to bet 1,000 times, but you're going to win. So it's not just one of these things that, you can just come and jump right in and go, oh man, I lost today. What happened? Trust me, it'll work. You got to keep working at it. So anyway, I didn't get any feedback in terms of questions. I don't have any games you want me to go over. So unless you would jump in the comments here real quick and let me know if there's something you want me to talk about, I'll be glad to do it. I want you to make sure you follow me on Twitter. That's going to be Webby20MLB on Twitter. Go to my website. I've gotten, since we started doing the show, I've gotten a few people that have signed up for the newsletter. It comes free every time I do an article. Like I just talked about, I'm going to do something up with the pitchers on how many innings they've pitched this year versus last year, because their arm's going to fall off, that kind of stuff. And if you want to be, get my plays, do stuff. If you want my Webby odds, if you want the EV Plus tool, if you want the pitching reports, if you want the weather reports, if you want the offenses breakdowns, if you want my score predictor, all that stuff, it's $100, man. I don't use your money to satisfy my bankroll. That's not how it works. I'm trying to be helpful, but I do need some income to keep this stuff working, to keep getting on here, and to expand, right? So hopefully we can bring in a sponsor of this show. And that brings up another thing. Look, I don't even have a name of this show. If you guys want to come up with a name of the show and hit me up with it, I'd be glad to incorporate that and see what we can do for a name of a show. Maybe we'll run a contest or something and name the show. Anyway, point being is let's have some fun today. It's Saturday. Bringing in tomorrow will be Sunday. I will be back at noon tomorrow with another slate of games. So we'll see what happens there. So good luck with all the wagers that you make today. Hopefully you're getting some of the things that I'm saying and it makes sense to you. And if you have questions, make sure you ask, because I want to make sure that you get everything you can out of what I say and what I have to offer. And we go from there. So thanks a lot, guys. And I appreciate everybody being here, and enjoy your Saturday. And I will see you again on Sunday. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.